Now, more Skip Happens. Please return Bubbles, your flight attendant, to her fully upright and locked position. Oh, wait a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat and buckle up. Seat backs and tray tables in their full upright position. It's another episode of Skip Happens. Your weekly view from 30,000 feet. From the first music lesson to the first paid gig to signing the deal, it's the journey that is the life of an artist. Now, here's your captain and co-captain, a.k.a. your hosts, Skip Clark and Deb Lamphere.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Skip Happens.
Hello.
There we go. Hello, it's Deb Lamphere. How are you, Deb?
I'm
Good to
great.
see you.
How are you?
I'm doing very well, and I'm very happy now. Well, I don't know if I'm happy or not, but I'm looking past you a little bit, and the decorations are down this
I
week.
know. This is very good for me because I think last year they were up through the whole month of January.
I think you're right. And our guest, Drew Smith, has no idea what the hell we're talking about.
I know.
But Deb normally has like all her Christmas decorations in the background, and she leaves them up forever. But there's none there right now. Drew Smith is our guest tonight. Let me tell you a bit about Drew. He's a country music singer, an award-winning professional songwriter. He's the owner of Gray Sound Recording. He's a producer, senior mixing engineer, creator of the Before You Record course. Born and raised, well, in Nashville, kind of bounces between there and Muscle Shoals. Hopefully this bio is right because that's what I'm reading, and I'm not going to read anymore because he's like right there. He's right there. Drew, how are you?
I'm good, guys. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Man, you open up your mouth and it's like, I need you on my radio station.
I'll be there. You call me and I'll fly right up.
Hey.
I love that voice, dude. That's pretty cool.
It's always good to have a backup plan, right?
It is. You get sick, Skip. You give me a buzz and old Drew will take care of it.
There you go.
All right. It'd take you what? Where are you right now?
I'm in Nashville.
Okay. So it'd take you what, 13 hours to get here? What's that?
Yeah.
13?
On a good day. Yeah, 13.
Yeah, if you're
probably
driving.
closer to 14 if you.
Yeah. Because we're in Syracuse, New York. That's where we do the podcast from. So yeah, I think, and Deb's in Nashville quite a bit, and she drives it quite a bit. So
I'm in New York quite a bit. So
really? Oh, cool.
Deb and I probably passed each other on the road.
I'm sure. What part of New York do you usually come to?
So my partner is in Westport, Connecticut, a suburb of New York, and so go through New York quite a bit, either flying or driving. So,
I'm sure we've passed.
Yeah.
I have family downstate, so I'm downstate, upstate,
all over the state,
all over.
Out of state, in state, everywhere. Absolutely. Let's talk about you, Drew, a little bit. How long have you been doing music?
Ooh, man, since I was about 10 years old is when I really got into playing guitar. I got really focused on that. Started writing when I was about 12 or so. So I've been at it for a while.
I'm sorry, my Alexa on the other side of the room just started talking to me. I don't know what the deal is here.
You tell her to mind her own business.
Hang on a minute. Alexa, stop. Stopped. Oh, she just said thanks for chatting. This is my podcast, not yours.
That was interesting.
Hang on one more second. Hang on. I don't know if you can hear it in the background. Hang on. Alexa, stop. Can you hear that or not?
That's
We hear
amazing.
voices.
Can you hear that, Drew?
Yeah. It's very faint. But I mean, she's really rattling on there, man.
Dude, she must be like, I don't know.
She wants to talk to Drew.
When was the last time you talked to Alexa? Because I feel like, Skip, that she's trying to tell you something. She feels neglected or something.
You know, I usually don't. Not down here anyways.
Yeah.
The only time I use my Alexa is, the only time I use my Alexa is that right. I ask what the temperature is in the morning and find out what the forecast is going to be and stuff like that. That's basically it. Or, down here, and, if I don't know, once in a while I'll ask it to play certain types of music, depending if I'm doing some producing or some editing and I want to hear something different while I'm getting it done. Sure. That's what I do. But let's talk about you, Drew. Okay, so you've been doing this a long time. Award-winning songwriter. You've been putting out some singles. I mean, it's more of a digital thing that you're doing. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. So far, I mean, we eventually, going to go to radio, but right now, just trying to build a fan base and as an artist, I've been, very successful as a songwriter. Doing the artist thing is a totally different thing. You can,
Yeah.
if you're a songwriter, you can get away with having, 45 followers on Instagram, but as an artist, that doesn't really work. So really been, building the following and booking some shows and things like that, and really getting serious back into the artist side of things.
Mhm. Would you rather do the artist than the songwriting, or is it just a great combination for you?
Man, I've got to have both. If I'm, I stopped touring for several years, and it's real easy to get after you've toured for so long. It's really easy to get used to being at home, and so I got when my songwriting started picking up,
Mhm.
started getting cuts and that sort of thing. I really put a lot of focus into that, and I got lazy and started staying home more. But I've figured out that when I'm on the road, I miss writing, and
Mhm, mhm.
when I'm writing, I miss the road. And so
Yeah.
it's really nice to have both.
Well, you can write when you're on the road.
Man,
Mhm.
people say that, but I don't know
No?
if they're on something or what. I mean,
There's
I've
so many other
never
things to do when you're on the road.
there's a lot of things, and it's
Mhm.
and you're tired, man. I mean, you're just tired. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never felt I've never felt called to ride on the road. I mean, I've had the urge, but I've always anytime I've tried to ride on the road, I've
Just
always
can't
thrown in the
concentrate.
towel and just went, man, I'm too tired for
Yeah.
that right now.
Yeah, you just can't. You got to have probably a certain frame of mind, if I'm not mistaken, and be able to sit and have it like be in your own world. But when you're on the road, you're in everybody else's world.
You
So,
really are, and it's again the exhaustion doesn't help. I mean,
you know,
it's pretty tough out there. It's not what people think. They see these tour buses and they go, man, those guys have got it made, and it's like, man,
mhm.
if you've ever spent 12 hours on a tour bus, it's not easy, and that's just a one-way trip. 12 hours really ain't nothing.
Do you? I don't know if you can see this or not, but I think I saw on your arm one of. All right, I have the microphone thing. Why can't I do this? There you go.
Oh
See?
yeah, yeah, man. We got matching tats. So that's on your right
Yeah.
arm, right?
Yes, it is.
So mine's on my left. So
Okay,
yeah, that probably
that's
means we're
cool.
blood brothers or something.
We could be. We just don't
Yeah,
know it yet.
yeah.
I have no idea.
That's the what
No.
is that? The Shure like 55, I think. Like
It's the. It is the 55. It
yeah,
is the Shure 55.
beautiful mic.
Yeah, it is, and I actually have one of those set up upstairs, which is pretty cool. It's just been that's like when if I go to MC something, and believe it or not, sometimes I take my own microphone, and I use this old the
Really,
Shure. Yeah, that's the mic I use. It just adds a little bit of class to
it's a
whatever
cool
I'm doing.
mic, man. It's
Yeah,
just the thing's got a vibe. Even if
it
you just
does.
put it on a shelf, it's got a
It does.
vibe.
As a matter of fact, you can't see it. There is one over here. So let's talk about your songwriting a little bit, though. Who have you written for? Who has done some of your music? Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh man, most recently this kid here in town, Chris Colston,
Okay.
he has been out touring with Hardy, been doing a
Mhm.
ton of dates with Hardy, which is great because Hardy's one of the biggest things out right now. John Schneider, who
Oh yeah.
most people know as Bo Duke from the Dukes of
Yep.
Hazzard. Um, that was real cool. Have Bo Duke sing one of my songs. Merle Haggard, which was
No,
I don't
man, that's so awesome.
yeah, I don't think a Garth Brooks cut could top that in my
Mhm.
book.
Mhm.
No, you get
Randy
Merle to
Hauser.
do one of your songs. Wow.
Yeah, man, it was a special thing. Randy Hauser. It's been a lot of people, man. I've been really, really blessed.
That's it. And how long have you been songwriting? Actually, tell me again.
Oh, let me do the
You've been
math.
doing that a long
There's,
time.
yeah, what even, I don't know,
And
20,
on.
25 years, something like that.
Okay.
Mm.
In a long
Alright.
time. But been doing it, for a living for this will be 13 years.
Wow.
So songwriting you've been doing for so long, and you've met a lot of people obviously in Nashville, and you've written for some great people. So why is there such a big challenge when songwriter has to cross or wants to cross over to be an artist? Because I kind of feel like you've got all these connections out there already.
Yeah, that's a really, really great question, Deb. I think a lot of it is that there's a reason that a lot of us start out as songwriters anyway, and it's because we're afraid to do the artist thing, and that's such a high goal, which you don't realize it at the time, but I mean there are the last time I heard any numbers, I mean it was like 2000. This was pre-pandemic, so probably 2018, 2019. Rolling Stone had an article about the number of actual paid published songwriters in town. It was less than 200, and which is wild because I think it was like 12 years prior to that there were 800 and something.
Yeah.
So the numbers are really shrinking. The community is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So I say that to say that being a full-time songwriter is also a 1 in a 5 million chance or whatever.
True.
But you just kind of see it as well. If I can just write my songs well enough, it doesn't matter what I look like or what I sound like, if I can sing or if I can't sing. I'm just a songwriter. That's the excuse for everything. If I have a bad night on stage, I just want to say, "Oh, I'm just a songwriter, man."
That's true.
but without the songwriters, there wouldn't be that song on
That's
this.
right.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
So yeah, I'm just a songwriter. Nobody important.
But I don't know, Deb. I think I do think that it is a totally different mindset, and now you have to be really business savvy to be an artist. It wasn't like that, 15 years ago, not even 10 years ago. You had other people that, if you were good enough, you had record execs that they would do all the paperwork for you. Now you have to break as an artist independently before you can get a deal. And that's a difficult thing to do because now that's more than just getting up in the morning and being really talented.
Right.
That's now getting up and being a social media manager, a photographer, a videographer, a content manager, on and on and on, and following, trends and algorithms and figuring out how the algorithm changed and how you've got to that stuff is crazy to me, but that's what you have to do now. It's those things are almost bigger and more important than being a great artist or a great songwriter. It's wild. It seems backwards to me.
Well, no, but it is a business. That's definitely a business that needs to be branded and built, just like any other business, except in this case, you're doing that, you're branding and building yourself. So it's,
Sure.
I definitely see where it's more of a challenge. I was just thinking that as a songwriter, you're already in front of all of, whatever artists or they know of you. It's like, hey, Randy, can I open up for your show coming up next month? I kind of think sometimes it's that easy, but it's not.
It's really not. I mean, you would think that it would be, but I know that there's got to be tons of guys in AAA that have plenty of friends that are, in the MLB. That are never going to get called up because it just doesn't work that way. I'm very envious of people, like you said, Deb. It's you've got to be pretty business savvy now, and I'm really envious of the people who naturally just seem to get that. They know their brand, they understand their brand, they know how to push their brand. And me, I'm just like, I don't know, man. I'm Diet Coke. I don't know. Like I don't even know what that means. And
just learning social media is a whole nother entity.
It really is. And the thing is, if I wanted to be a social media manager or content manager or follow all that stuff for a photographer, videographer, any of those things, then that's what I would have done. If I would have wanted to get into business, I would have went to college and gotten a business major. I'm too dumb to do that. So I stuck with songwriting. And so now the world has changed around me, and it's been really difficult. Luckily, I'm really blessed and really fortunate to have a great team around me that understand the ins and outs of all of that, and that can link me up with great people like you that, where we can sit here and have a conversation. I wouldn't know how to do that. I don't know how to reach out to Skip and Deb, but they do. And so, but I've worked really hard to get to that point to where I can get some help with that.
Wow.
My digital guy, his name's Keith. he got hit by a car one time.
Uh-oh.
Totally unrelated to this story, but I always like sticking that in there just because I think it's crazy. Keith's maybe 20, 21, 22, something like that. He goes to Belmont here in town, and he's my digital guy. And Keith is so sharp with his stuff, and he understands it. And I've been really transparent with him and said, the first meeting that I had with him, I said, Keith, I don't know what I'm doing. So I have to lean on you for this. And if I'm doing something wrong with social media or any of this digital stuff, you've got to tell me, because I have no idea what I'm doing. And here's this, 20-year-old kid that has like got it down, man. And now my stuff is like, flying all over the place. And I don't understand why. I don't care as long as it works,
Right.
but he gets it. And it's wild,
I think this generation or that generation, I feel like, is born with this piece of the brain that just knows how to
Yes.
do that stuff.
Yeah.
We were not gifted. I mean, we're way older than you are. We're definitely not gifted with that part of the brain. But you see these kids, they, like you said, he'll walk in the door and probably hasn't even had a course on it and knows what he's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's crazy. It's
Mm.
crazy. But that's what you need.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays, that's what you need to be doing. And we need to, to count on these kids to, now I don't mean to talk about my age, but seriously, if I have an issue, I'll call my son over and go, Zach, hey, how come? And you go, oh, Dad, boom, 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 and he gets it done.
Mhm.
But I feel for my age, I'm pretty good with it, but I'm not the best. And like I said, when I have those issues, I know who I can call on.
Yeah.
So, but really, for you as a songwriter and as an artist, you got to count on somebody to do a lot of that for you, because the way things are going nowadays, look where all these new artists are coming from, and these people that are writing these songs, they're coming off of TikTok, they're coming off of Insta or Instagram, they're coming, it's all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
It really is.
But it's kind of disturbing on one hand, but then amazing on the other, where, okay, these guys, there's people out there like you that work so hard and write so many songs, and you're trying to be an artist and a songwriter, and you're doing your best to get your music out there. Then there's somebody else that puts a song up on TikTok, and the guy's a hit in the following week. The guy's a star. It's crazy. It's crazy stuff. I'm not downplaying that at all, because there are some good people out there that we've never heard of before, and now they're coming to light. But it can work both ways too.
It really can. I think the thing with that, and it's frustrating for guys like me that have been in town, that have been doing it for years, that have, slept in our car and that sort of thing, to see, this stuff happen, for somebody that's out making parodies or whatever, and
Right,
they,
right,
they get a break. And but the thing about that, what I've come to realize with that is that there's just no longevity in that. We've seen it for years with American Idol contestants and The Voice contestants, and even the ones, I mean, obviously there are exceptions like Carrie Underwood and, Kelly Pickler and Miranda Lambert, but those folks are the exceptions. Everyone else, there's you don't ever hear from them again. And I think it's because most of the people on there are, they were working at Best Buy yesterday, and then you drag them to LA, and there's this huge culture shock. And then, I've never been on any of those shows, and I'm certainly not slamming it, by the way. I got you. But from what I understand, those are not easy days. Like, they drag you to LA, and it's 18-hour days or 20-hour days sometimes. And then you get up and you do it all again the next day. And it's all this rehearsal and, tons of, and vocal coaching and, a lot of stuff, a lot of press, a lot of media.
Yep.
And it's really, really tough. But at the end of it, by the time they get to the end of their 13 weeks, if they make it that far, they lack all of this experience, because they've played a verse and a chorus in front of an audience, maybe a dozen times. And so then after that, you're off the show, and they're just going, oh, okay, see you, good luck. And then, and they might have 30,000 fans on Facebook or, wherever on social media, but they don't know what to do with them.
That's where the business,
they don't have any content after that.
Yeah. That's where the business practice needs to come in, and they may need a team or advice or something because you have something now. Now you have to work with it. Whatever little bit you have to try to take it and run with it to some capacity.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. That is a really good. That's a really good evaluation. I like that
Yeah,
because
very
just
smart. Yeah.
going through looking at the different ways an artist comes about, like your experience, and I think this such a huge value is when you have slept in your car and you've had to pave the way for yourself, and you've had to get out and try to scrape up fans and get someone to listen to you. But and then when you finally grow, I mean, where you're at is just so appreciated.
Mhm,
And I
mhm.
think when someone has it just handed over to them, if they haven't worked for it, it could be a little bit of a different outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To
for
me, that's a
sure.
little disturbing when that
No.
happens. But you take somebody like we have you, of course, but then Jimmy Allen, for example,
Mm.
slept in his car
Right.
for how long? Remember, we had him on the
Right.
podcast, and we've had him a couple of times. Just a great guy to talk to,
Right.
Jimmy's
and to
great.
find
Yeah.
out what he's been through, and look at where he is now.
Right.
But he
Yeah.
doesn't forget any of that. He doesn't. He's very like, I worked hard to get to where I am, and I appreciate everything and everybody to
Yeah.
get to this point. It wasn't a overnight thing for him.
Right.
And
For sure,
look at
yeah.
Hardy. Look at
Yeah.
Hardy. You mentioned Hardy earlier. If I remember right, the story was Hardy was at a songwriters, maybe a round or something, and somebody said, "Dude, you suck. You're not going to just quit now while you can. Quit
Yeah.
now. Just
Oh, I
get
didn't
up."
hear that story.
Yeah, no, it's a true story. It's a true story. And he said, the hell with you. No, I'm going to do what I enjoy. Now look
Yeah.
at him. So
Yeah.
now he's right. I mean, he writes some of the best songs that are out there. He's
Yeah.
great on stage. He's just phenomenal.
He's really killing it. Hardy's
Yeah.
another good example of guys that there's this, kind of trend that's been happening for the past few years now, where it certainly gives me some hope, where a lot of the people that we're hearing on the radio now that are successful artists are guys that started off as writers and had success as songwriters
Yes.
before their artist journey ever began.
Yep.
And I don't know why it has trended that way, but I mean, so many, like even huge Luke Bryan fans don't understand that Luke Bryan was a hit songwriter before he was ever
Exactly.
Luke Bryan and stopped writing his own songs.
Right.
The guy's a great songwriter.
Yeah. People don't realize that. They have no
I think,
idea.
did Chris Stapleton start out that way too?
Oh
Was he
yeah,
another
God,
one?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
geez.
yeah. He's another
What
one.
did-
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Wait,
phenomenal.
wait until you hear his new album.
Oh.
It's a great.
I haven't heard it yet.
I feel like you're lying.
But no.
I feel like you got a promotional copy,
Mhm.
the one with the sticker
not
on the
yet,
front.
Not yet. But I'm just something, they've come off Joy of Life. That's not being pushed by the label anymore. And there's a reason for that. It's down the road. Rumor is that he's got a brand new album, like maybe by March, late February, March.
Nice.
The album's going to drop. And from what I understand on this album, you might be interested in this, is that normally he has maybe 2 cuts off an album that could be radio worthy.
Sure.
Well, this one's got at least 5.
Really?
That's what I'm hearing. See, yeah. You get
And
it.
I
Deb's
thought it
going,
was a shame that What Are You Listening To wasn't a massive hit.
exactly.
I remember when
I
that
don't
went
get
to
that.
radio, and I went, man, my God, man, this guy, he can be a radio star, because I knew him when he was just Chris Stapleton. He was just the songwriter one street
Yeah.
over from me,
Mhm.
and
Quiet
and they-
guy, just kind of doing his own thing.
doing his own thing and writing great songs. And at that time, I had just signed my first publishing deal, and they had signed me as a writer artist. And so I had this big producer here in town, and we were going to labels and things like that, but they were pitching me Chris Stapleton songs. And I just became a huge fan of his. And man, I love that he's killing it out there now.
Yeah.
I think it's
yeah.
great. But it was when they sent What Are You Listening To radio, I thought, all right, this is it. This guy's going to blow up. And then that song just went absolutely nowhere. But thank God, because he got another chance and he came back, and now he's one of the biggest things in country music.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, he sold out our amphitheater here. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. I think it was right after COVID, but he sold it out, and it's just amazing. And the number of people that were coming in. I mean, 17,000 people. Tickets were sold out in no time for Chris Stapleton. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
he's phenomenal. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Oh,
one
yeah.
of a kind.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
How long have you been actually in Nashville, Drew?
So I moved to Nashville in 2009.
Okay.
So whatever the math is on that, I guess
Yeah.
14
Have
years.
you obviously you've always been, because maybe your Alabama roots, you've always been country, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I love a lot of different stuff, but being raised in southern Middle Tennessee, in a tiny little town, don't get me wrong, I would love to be able to sit around and do Guns N' Roses covers all day, but it would just sound like a hillbilly doing Guns N' Roses covers. And so I've always stuck with who I am and where I'm
Yeah.
from,
And you should be, and you should do that.
absolutely, yeah. I think that's I think being authentic is super important as an artist.
Now, you've been on the stage with the late, great Merle Haggard, Don Williams. You've done Big and Rich, Lee Brice, Lady A. I'm looking at some of these notes here that I made off your bio off the web, and that's amazing. You were on the with Merle Haggard. That's why I asked how long you had been in Nashville, or how long have you been doing that? Because, and I don't know if and she's going to get so pissed at me when I say this.
Uh-oh.
I know, no, she's watching this podcast right now, but back in the day, I was a big fan, and I have her plaque on my wall here in the studio, Cindy Thompson.
Oh.
I don't know if you remember
that was
Cindy.
her.
That's
Absolutely.
her, and she is phenomenal. And what a wonderful lady, because I know she's going to probably message me and say, shut up. But, but she, great artist. And she got married and decided to go the route of having the family. And now her kids are grown and she's thinking about getting back into it. And I keep saying, hey, Cindy, you got to come on the podcast. Let's talk.
Yeah.
But she's watching it right now. She's made a few comments there. I don't know if you can see them on your end. So.
I can, yeah. If I'm not mistaken, I think Billy Joe Walker Jr. produced her stuff. I could be completely wrong about that. Maybe she'll.
I'm not really sure. She would let us know if she's.
Yeah.
She's on. And she's been commenting. So, and she's just a wonderful person and just a great mom. And now she's saying hi. So there you go.
Hi, Cindy.
And I know she misses doing this. She's been thinking about getting back into it. She did so well. I think she was on, was it Capitol?
Paul Worley. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
My phone.
If it's not my Alexa, oops.
That's my phone. My home phone never rings. Sorry about that. Maybe my husband will get it. He's in the basement.
I'm going to try to find something out. Let me set my alarm clock to go off in 5 minutes.
I think you need to contribute to this.
I feel left out.
Drew, do you realize this has never, ever happened?
I know, right?
Wow.
It's
Man,
like it's all happening tonight. So it's kind of crazy.
Skip
Either
happens. That's why we have
Skip
that
happens.
name.
That's what it's about. But what was it like to be on the stage with Merle and Don Williams? And of course, Big and Rich are crazy. We know them. They've got their own belief and they got their own thing going. We just did a show with them over the summer. Just a crazy stuff.
Yeah, Don Williams was great. I was out with him for about 6 months. I got to do all of his openers. It was just me and a guitar. Man, it was great. His road crew was excellent. His band was excellent. And my favorite part of doing that tour was that thank you, Cindy. Thanks so much. Same here. Huge fan of yours as well. You'll have to hook us up. I'd love to.
Yeah, I'll definitely, if that's okay with her, and then she'll let me know, and I'm sure she won't have a problem with it.
Absolutely.
I can definitely get you what you need. So,
but yeah, my favorite part of that tour was getting done with my set, Don coming out, and then I would go find a seat if I could find one in the back of wherever we were playing and watch his show, and that never got old to me. And he still sounded like the record, and it never made any sense to me because Don walked around with a cigarette in one hand and a black coffee in the other. All day, every day, all night, every night. That was except for when he was performing. That was the only time that he didn't have a coffee and a cigarette in his hand. And I thought, my God, man, how can you still sing?
Yeah.
After and I smoked at the time, And my voice would kill me at the end of the night. I was like, how's this guy? He's 75 years old. This man's older than baseball.
Well,
And he's
maybe that's why.
yeah.
That could be it. So, but yeah, he was so great. And Merle, Merle was a very unique experience. I got to meet him and spend some time with him before I opened for him. I did a show with him at the Ryman Auditorium here in town, and that was incredible. Did another show with him in Georgia. He invited me to come down and open for him and hang out with him on his bus that day. And he was such a unique guy. He was very intimidating, without trying to
Oh, I
be.
bet.
I mean, it's
I
Merle
bet.
Haggard, and yeah, all of those experiences, Big and Rich. I don't know if I should tell this story or not, but I was going to do a show with them. I don't remember if it was the first show that I did with them or the second one, but they ended up not showing up because John had been arrested. He got in trouble for spraying a fire extinguisher.
I shouldn't laugh, but just
I think we heard about that somewhere though.
He was spraying
Yeah.
a fire extinguisher all over Broadway. And
yeah,
So
it happened.
they didn't make the show. And it was wild, but Gretchen Wilson was there, and I think James Otto and some others.
Yeah,
So
and-
everybody, we all kind of picked up the slack, but it was wild, man. Those guys are nuts.
I didn't think
Oh,
that
they
that
are
was
nuts.
an arrestable tactic that one
I
could-
think if you I think if you're actively spraying people, it could be considered assault. I
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah,
want to
yeah.
be sprayed with a fire extinguisher, but
I know it's not funny, but it's kind of fun.
Right,
no, it's
right.
definitely funny. Yeah, it's definitely funny.
Oh my God. Yeah, there's a lot of stories. You can go back and just kind of, it was crazy in the beginning days of what they would call the music mafia.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Music Mafia. I was
Yeah.
trying to remember that group that they had. Yeah.
Yep. It was 2 Foot Fred,
Yeah.
of course, Big and Rich,
Cowboy
Troy.
Troy.
Gretchen was part of
Uh-huh.
that. So it was kind of crazy.
Yeah. It was wild to watch that group. And they had, we go back to talking about the overnight success thing. I mean, they had been hanging out for years. They had their little
Yep.
group, and
Yep,
then
yep.
Big and Rich happened, and then they just started kind of pulling each other upward, and
Mhm.
that's kind of how it works in this community. Is
Yep.
you end up in a little camp, and one guy he gains some traction, and then everybody else kind of follows as a result of that,
Yeah.
which is it's just how it happens. But they had been around for years.
Oh yeah. Well, I remember John Rich when he was with Lone Star. In the
Yeah,
early
that's
days.
right. Yeah, played bass,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he played.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe it was. I don't know. But he was one of the original members of Lone Star.
Mhm.
Way back in the day, they had No News and What About Now and stuff like that. I mean, No News, I think, was. Then John might have left after that. But we did a show with them way back in the day when they were still new and, hitting every market they could to get themselves known.
Sure.
So,
Yeah,
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
they were a great. band.
You also got a chance to write with Don Schlitz.
Oh yeah, he and I wrote.
How
several
cool
songs
is
together.
that? Because The Gambler,
Terrifying.
when
It's
you
not
say
cool
nothing at all.
It's
not cool at all.
It's not, yeah.
Bad experience. Bad.
It's a really
But
terrifying experience.
What's it like to sit down with somebody of that magnitude to write? I mean, did you feel intimidated at all, or was it just like, all right, this is cool, all you did? Yeah, I don't blame you. I'd be like scared shitless. I mean, let's just be honest about
Yeah.
this.
And I was
Yeah.
terrified. I had been a fan of Don's for a long time. I had studied his writing for years. I mean, like actually studied his writing. And I used to go see him at the Bluebird Cafe, like long before I ever even moved to Nashville. He would do a show at the Bluebird. He called it Dawn for $1. Normally, to get into Bluebird, it's at least $10. I don't know what it is now. I haven't been.
It's probably a lot more than $10.
Yeah, definitely more than that. But even at that time, tickets were at least $10, and then you have to buy a minimum amount of stuff. But Don would do, like, once a month, he would do a show there called Dawn for $1, and you get in for a buck. And he did it just because he loved it. But I would go to
Right.
his shows and I would just sit there and just be fascinated by not just When You Say Nothing at All, not just The Gambler, not just On the Other Hand, all these other, huge hits that he had,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he, the things that he was, currently writing. And man, I'd make notes and stuff, and I just thought he was brilliant. Still think he's brilliant. And so I ran into him after I signed my first deal. I ran into him at Starbucks. Do we have time for this story? Are we going?
Oh, we got all the time in the world.
Okay, great.
Unless you don't want to tell it.
We'll be here until midnight.
Hey, we got our time's your time.
I walked into Starbucks one day right off of Music Row. I walk in and he's sitting at this table right by the door. There's a big line going up to the counter there. And because it's also the Vanderbilt location.
Oh, okay.
And so it's
Always busy.
full of the Vandy kids,
Yeah.
And he's sitting there and he's got his newspaper out and he's doing the crossword puzzle. And I was like, oh my God, man, that's Don Schlitz. And I'd not seen him since I'd gotten the deal. And I thought, man, I got to walk right by him when I leave here. And so I finally, the line takes forever, but I get my coffee and I'm leaving. I thought, you know what, man, I'm just going to say hello to him. And I'd met him at the Bluebird Cafe, but it was never any more than, hey, that was a great show. Really enjoyed it. Thanks a lot.
Right,
See you.
right.
And so I was walking by and I thought, I got to talk to him. Like, at least now I have something that I can say. I've got a writing deal. And so I can at least say that, I'm not just like some random dude.
Right.
And I said, Mr. Schlitz, I said, man, I don't want to bother you. My name is Drew. And I've studied everything that you've ever written. And I think you're amazing. And I wanted you to know that. And I hope you have a good day. And he's sitting there with his crossword and he looks up over his glasses and I thought, oh no, here it comes,
now.
man.
Here
Yeah,
it
this
comes.
guy, he's about to tongue lash me, and this is not going to be good. And he said, he looks up, he glares up at me, he says, Drew, why don't you have a seat?
Oh.
And then I really went, oh no, because that's all I got for this conversation, man. So I sat down with him and we started talking, and he was just so sweet and so wonderful. And I told him I just signed my first deal, and I said, man, I've been coming to watch you at the Bluebird for years now, and I really have studied everything you've ever written, and I continue to, and I hang on every word. I think you're the best songwriter that's ever been in Nashville, Tennessee, and certainly one of the best songwriters that's ever walked. And he ended up, we exchanged information. He said, man, why don't you send me some songs? I'd just like to hear what you're doing. And I thought, oh my God, so I ended up a few days later, I sent him a few songs, and he wrote me a note back, and he said one of those songs was a song called Old Keys, and was in my back catalog. And he said, man, Old Keys made me love music again. And I thought, my God, what a compliment coming from that guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so we ended up just becoming friends. And then I never asked him to write. He finally asked me. He said, man, why don't you come over to the house? Let's write.
That's cool.
And so we started writing songs together. And yeah, it's always it's wild because he has written all those great songs, and you're sitting there in the room with him. If you can get past that, it's a really great experience, but getting your head around it is pretty tough.
It's got to be hard.
Yeah.
Just to get by that fact that he has done what he's done.
Yeah. He really
Now,
taught
here
me a
you are.
lot about songwriting though, and he didn't have to do that. And he would, every time that we've written, I'll say something and he'll say, do it like this, and here's why. And I just go, oh man.
Well, see, and there's a huge difference right there. He's teaching you instead of saying, I'd rather it say this, or I'd rather it do that.
Right.
It's like, these are the reasons why you
Yeah.
should do this, and you learn from
Yeah.
that. I think there was probably a huge respect there when you first of all, you have to have the guts to go up and talk to him, hoping he doesn't leave by the time you get your coffee and
Yeah.
you're out the door. But the
Yeah.
fact that you had studied everything that he's ever done, to me, it's like that's a huge statement right there. That's worth.
Yeah,
sure.
There's a respect there. You've valued my work enough to study and know everything I've ever done, and I just think there's a value there, which he just caught on to. So that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
a sweetheart of a guy. He's a really, really wonderful person. His wife Stacy is great, and they've been really, really wonderful to me.
Isn't that kind of cool though
Wow.
too when people in the industry at in any capacity actually give somebody the time of day who's just starting out, because they were there once too. And I know as you climb the ladder of success, your days are busier, or you value, he's there doing his puzzle. He's valuing that little bit of time he had to himself. But when anybody stops to give someone else some time, it's just, those things are huge, huge events.
Yeah, I really think that's so important. I've had the opportunity a few times to to talk to guys that want to move to Nashville or just moved to Nashville and want to write songs or be an artist or whatever. And I had so many people that did that for me that just said, well, don't do this or do this or
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's exceptionally important
Yeah.
to do. I think that's ultimately that's kind of how the world goes around.
Mhm.
That's what keeps it turning is
Yeah.
us helping each other
That's
out.
true.
I agree. The more we
Hey,
pay it forward.
Bobby Pinson.
Yeah.
He's still there, right?
Oh yeah.
Still.
Yeah. He just put out a new single just a couple of months ago called The Shave.
Really?
And,
Okay.
and it's, as you would imagine, it's immaculately written. I mean,
He was always so good.
my
So
God,
good.
he's that guy. He's another just, songwriting god.
Yeah, exactly. And I saw the name on your, on my cheat sheet here. And that's why I went, oh, Bobby Pinson. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's a name I haven't heard in a while. But I know when it came to songwriting,
Yeah.
there were a lot of people that talked about how good of a songwriter he was.
Man, he's one of the best as well. Yeah.
So
He-
do you, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
He and Don are. It's funny. Those guys are polar opposites. They're both they're both some of the best in town, and I would say that they're both in the top, easily the top 10 best songwriters that have ever been in Nashville. Maybe top 5.
Yeah.
They're
no
very much opposites, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, he's been cool to
But
me.
opposites are good.
They are.
I mean,
they really
even,
are. Yeah.
Even if you were to put them in the same room,
Mhm.
something good's going to come out of that because they're opposites.
Yeah. Don's the type that he'll say, well, let's, why don't you try saying it this way because da da da. And then Pinson will look directly at you and say, that's shit. Don't ever say that again.
That's
I'm thinking,
him.
wow. But you can learn from that as well.
Yes. No, absolutely. Absolutely. We've been talking about the songwriting, but how about the performing end of things? Do you get out and still do shows right there in town?
Not so much in town now. I mean, the climate has kind of changed since I was doing shows here in town all the way up until the pandemic happened. The day of, I played at George Jones's place.
Okay.
The day that the lockdown began, I played that afternoon, and I think the city curfew at like 3:00. They came out and said city curfew 8:00. Everybody home. Doors locked, whatever all that was about, whatever we had to do. And I've tried to forget those days, but so I played very regularly up until that point. And then, that happened, that the bars here were shut down for, well over 6 months. The thing about it though, was that when they came back, they all had new management, new people booking and things like that. And I did a few shows after that, and it was weird. The vibe of Broadway, lower Broadway had really changed. And it just didn't feel like the same place. And I honestly, I think that was probably in my head because I think, I think the mall probably didn't feel the same right after COVID, you know.
I don't think anything did here, there, or
Yeah.
anywhere. It was
Yeah,
all-
I agree. So I think that was in my head, but it was in my head enough to where I went, I don't think I'm going to go back.
Mhm.
At least not on a regular basis. And so since then I haven't. I mean, I've done some shows down there, but it hasn't been on a regular basis.
Right.
So-
Right. Well, the pandemic, I mean, we have a whole new way of doing things. It changed for everybody, and
Yeah.
everything that we do, it's all different now. For the
Yeah.
most part, I guess. I don't know
Mhm.
if it's all different, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's, even just doing this now, we used to have people in studio here. Artists would come through on the radio tours. We'd bring them over here to the Pod Zone, and, we do everything live right here. But now, and actually, it's for the better. I think
Mhm.
we even have more people. So it's just pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
Mhm.
I guess that's a good thing that came out of that.
Yeah.
But, there's also that bad side of things where the people needed to make money. Nobody was working. They couldn't go out and perform. They couldn't do this. They couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
that was
guess
the tough part, but it certainly does have its conveniences like this, where I didn't have to
Yeah.
drive to Syracuse today. So
Really.
I got to do some work and then
Yeah.
and
So let me ask: have you been through this part of the woods, so to speak?
I have,
Syracuse?
yeah.
Yeah?
It's been years ago since I've been that far north
Very cool.
into New York.
New York?
but yeah.
Yeah.
Went through there,
Yeah.
years ago. But I love the state of New York. It's beautiful.
Oh, it is
Absolutely
beautiful here.
Mhm.
Spent a lot of time there in October, especially. I went up and again, my partner and her daughter live there, and so I spent a lot of time with them. Any opportunity
Very
that I
nice.
get, and I was up there, pretty much the entire month of October.
Mhm.
We spent a lot of time.
Beautiful
and,
time of the year, dude. To be
Oh,
here.
Yeah.
man, it
Uh-huh.
was just we got to watch the leaves change, and
Yeah.
it was really, really great. Really
You go up
great.
into the Adirondacks, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Man, I want to do that.
You
I
should.
haven't done that yet, but I want to do that.
Just when you want to get away from it all, when you
Mhm.
need that break, just that's what you do. Go up into the Adirondacks, maybe you and your partner and whoever, just go and rent a cabin up there, and just kind of,
Yeah.
bring your guitar. You can write a couple of songs.
She's been up there, and we've talked about it before, but I haven't got to see it yet. I'd like to go to the
So
Catskills. and
let's
things like that.
incorporate you doing that. Book something now because it's going to get booked up quick, and then circle through Syracuse, and then we'll put a showcase together for you.
I think
and
that's
then
a
you
great idea.
Then you can head back to Tennessee.
We would do that.
I like
we
the
would
way you
definitely
think
do that.
Let's put that together for sure.
So as soon as you know when you're coming to New York, you just let us know and we'll get it
I
together.
absolutely will. I'd love to come see you guys. How about your football team, man?
They suck.
You could have waited at least 3 seconds to say something.
He didn't hesitate at all, did he?
No.
But the basketball team, we call them cardiac cues because their games are always close. Win or lose,
Sure.
they're
Mhm.
always close and they're always exciting. It's crazy. The football, I mean, we went 6-0 in the beginning, and then it was like when we start, he disappeared. But when we started, Deb, that
Mhm.
when we started playing the other teams there that really mattered, we did not do all that well.
I know. I don't think I
No.
made it to one game this year, unfortunately. I watched them
Yeah.
from my couch.
It was kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy,
Yeah.
But hopefully, Drew Smith is who we're talking to. As you can
Mhm.
see, he's an award-winning songwriter, and this guy has obviously written for a lot of the big stars. Performed with Haggard, Don Williams, Big and Rich, Lee Brice, Lady A.
Oh.
It's just amazing, and it's amazing that these people reach out and they come
And
on.
I
Skip
do
Happens.
believe he will be very successful as an artist as well.
Well, I
Yeah.
agree. No, I was going to say he's definitely been doing this a long time. So
Mhm.
not a long time, but not really a long time.
No, but he's got a lot of experience under his belt. He's got a lot of people that respect him and what he's doing, and
Mhm.
he's a hard worker, great business manager now, and he knows he has to do 10
There he is.
different things.
Yep. I'm going to bring him back up here.
Okay.
Here we go. He's popping back in here.
There we go.
He didn't like us anymore. He didn't like that comment about the football team.
No,
Yeah,
actually, I was
seriously.
sitting here. I was thinking, man, they're speaking so highly of me. I probably shouldn't come back. This is really nice. It's kind of like I was dead for a minute. Everybody was talking real good about me, and I thought, I don't know if I should come back or not. I could still hear you.
Could you hear what we were
Yeah,
saying?
I heard everything. Yeah.
Yeah. See, how
Or
cool is
whatever.
that? How cool
That
is
is
that? I
beautiful.
don't know what happened, but now
Do you want to
Deb's
switch
over
us
there, and I'm
around, Skip, or you want to?
Uh,
Can you move us?
watch. It's the one. Here we go. This is what. Just goodbye, Deb. All right, and
gone.
let's see here. Deb's gone.
Flying
You.
solo.
And there we go. That.
Oh,
3,
wait,
2,
am I
1.
out?
No,
Oh,
you're just on the bottom now.
oh, okay. I saw the 3, 2, 1, so I thought it signed me out. Ay, 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 ay.
We've broken this whole system.
We
Drew, I got to tell you, this is crazy tonight.
Mhm.
With all the crazy
There's
stuff
some
happening
gremlins
in the
in there.
background.
Yeah.
There's something going on here. No kidding, dude. I'm telling you. It's crazy.
Oh, wait a second. Actually, you reversed us, but that's okay.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, I know. I just
You're
realized
like
it.
on the
I
bottom.
know. I just zoned out for 10 split seconds. So. Ay, 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 ay. Sorry about that.
Would you rather be on top?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm not even going there. I knew we're live. I'll be nice. So.
All right. Anyways, tonight we've been chatting with Drew Smith. And Drew, tell us a little bit about how can somebody actually log on, listen to your music, maybe download your music, get in touch with you. I mean, it's all that. Tell us.
It's real simple. I've streamlined everything. All you have to remember is Drew Smith Live. So you can go to drewsmithlive.com. My Instagram is Drew Smith Live. Facebook is Drew Smith Live. Twitter, which I'm never on. I might have even been, I don't know, man. I haven't checked Twitter in a minute. After Elon has taken over, I
know Elon took it over. Now I don't even know what's going on.
Elon might have kicked me off. I don't know. I should
to
probably
get your
check on that. But everything is Drew Smith Live.
Okay.
So it's real easy to find all of it on my website. There's a ton of music, and got new music coming out in just a few weeks that I'm really excited about. February 7th, I'm gonna release a few new ones, and then on March 7th, just 1 month later, I'll be releasing an EP. Really excited about that as well, and so it's going to be a fun year. You know what, Drew? You definitely have to let us know when all this happens. You just told us, but all that because Deb and her country music fan club, and they have a. Yeah, go ahead, Deb. You explain.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. We'll
somebody tell me.
Okay, darn it. With my country music fan club, they love getting to know new artists, and we have a great fan base. So after the podcast is over, I'll be sure to follow you. So follow us back.
Deb.
As soon as you pop these out, we'll promote it. Throw it on the story. We'll let people know what's going on, and then help draw some new business out that direction.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
So
awesome stuff. Hey, is there let me ask you this. You've been obviously, you know what you're doing, where you are. You've been doing it for a while, and you've got a lot under your belt. You've got a gold record, which I'm reading is hanging on your mom and dad's wall. That's pretty cool, dude. That's really cool. Yeah. But right now, is there any new artist that's really that you really are paying a lot of attention to? Is there any one in particular?
I love Lainey Wilson, and I love Elvie Shane.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Elvie and I have written a ton of songs together. We've been friends for a long time, and
very cool.
He's a great artist and great songwriter.
I'd love to get him on Skip Happens. I'd love to have a
conversation. Let's do it, man.
With...
I'll be happy to connect you guys.
We can talk afterwards. And
he's a wonderful guy, and again, an amazing artist. So he and Lainey are my top two.
Yeah, Lainey's she's probably my top. We're doing a show with her on February 4th.
Oh, nice.
At a local venue. It's not it's just a bar, which is kind of cool, but they book a lot of big shows, and Lainey's coming through on the 4th. It's turning into a big bar now. But really looking forward to that. We booked her, I should put it this way. They booked her at my request. They said, who do you any female artists? And this was maybe a year ago. I said, watch Lainey Wilson. That's somebody that we should get. So they went ahead, they booked her, and then all of a sudden she was just taken off. And now with Yellowstone, and then being she might have been nominated for a Grammy. She wasn't, but I think she should have been. But with all that even coming out, it's just like the show sold out in no time, and it's February 4th. So, and we've had her on the podcast as well. Oh yeah.
I've gotten to see her live a few times, CMA Awards, ACM Awards, and then it was where else did I see her? Somewhere in Vegas prior to the ACM Awards last year. I mean, every time in every setting, she's great. She's just a really, really great artist. And LV, I got to catch one of his shows out there, and he was awesome as well. But yeah, those two are my favorites right now.
Awesome stuff. Well, Deb and I will be in Nashville in March for a little bit. Deb's there quite often.
For CR, are you coming to CRS?
I've been doing that for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And
okay, great. I'll see you there.
Oh.
We'll have to get a cold one down at Bar Lines, or one of the bars. We'll be
Bar Lines is the hang, man.
It is.
It really is.
Don't tell anybody, but every year I try to grab a glass, a Bar Lines glass, and I bring it home and I put it on my show.
That's great.
I don't want anybody to know that.
No, don't tell the world. Don't tell.
No, I'm not. It's a secret.
So whenever I go down to Nashville, I walk by Bar Lines, I take a picture of it, and I'm like,
and she sends it to me.
Hey Skip, hi from Bar Lines, and he always sends me back all these like mad faces because he's
Deb, if you were a real friend, instead of walking by and taking a picture, you'd go in and steal a glass.
Steal a glass for
him. This would be hilarious. It'll be a good time. Yeah, we're in town for CRS, and love to have a cold one with you.
Absolutely, I'd love that. I'm going to hold you to it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's on me. Yeah. Absolutely. Love to do that. Drew Smith, everybody, here tonight on Skip Happens. Wow, just a great conversation about what you've done and how deep you go with the country roots, and who you've been writing for, and what you've done and performed with, and all that. It's just, dude, you're right up there with them. You're awesome. You are awesome.
I appreciate that. I'm very grateful you guys have me on.
Yeah, absolutely. And anytime you want to do a radio show, you just say, hey. I'll get you on the air.
I'm going to hold you to that too, man.
DJ.
Yeah, I miss it, man. I really do.
No, you said, before we went on, you did that early on in life. You were 14 or 15?
Yeah, I was 14 when I got my first radio job. Yeah, did that till I was 18 or 19. Yeah.
Do you remember what did you work? Do you remember what day part, or
I started off as a board op.
Don't we all?
Baseball. Don't we all, man? That job. And in my hometown, Skip, they still had cart machines, man. We were playing spots with cart machines.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And every other radio station in the country by then had swapped over to computers. And
well, they went from cart machines to CDs. Well, no, it depends on the music. Went to CDs, and then
music went to CDs,
then to the computers. Yeah.
And commercials were still on carts, and
carts. Yeah.
And that's what we were running. We were running CDs and cart machines. And so I started off as a board op and just playing commercials on Braves baseball games. And then they started letting me read the weather and then read the local news. And then eventually they started giving me some shifts. And then I ended up doing like the 3 to 6 shift. Monday
afternoons.
Yeah, I was doing afternoons.
Dude, that's on for that age, doing an afternoon drive.
Yeah, I got out of school. Well, I mean, I grew up in an Amish community, so it wasn't much of a drive. But, my audience wasn't huge, but I got out of school at 2:30, and I could make it to the station by 3. And I did that until. I worked in my hometown until I was 16, and then got a job in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, at a radio station down there, which is, just over the state line. And I grew up on the Tennessee side. It was about a 45-minute drive, and so by then I was driving, and so I'd run down there, and I ended up working at a cluster of stations in Muscle Shoals that were owned by Sam Phillips, the owner and founder of Sun Records.
Yeah, in Memphis. Yeah.
And he had a radio station that he had there in Muscle Shoals since the 70s. And that was always another, major passion of his. So after the Elvis and Johnny Cash and all that stuff happened, and Sam made his money, he you know,
Mhm.
built this really great station in Muscle Shoals, and so
Very cool.
I got to work for him, you know, for a couple of years before he passed away, and that was a
Yeah.
really, really unique experience as well. So it was really cool. He was a wild card, man.
Mhm.
So
Would you ever do it again?
yeah, I would do it again. Yeah, I do. I miss it so much.
But
man.
you're writing and you're an artist now. You're all doing your thing.
Yeah, I mean, they both pay about the same, so it's like.
Well,
But
dude.
I do miss it, man. And I tell
Yeah.
you what I really miss. I miss when I learned this from an old radio vet. When somebody calls and requests something that you absolutely hate, and you go, "Yeah, I'll see what I can do for you."
Yeah.
That's always the answer.
So that's the secret line, huh?
That's the secret line. If you call a radio station and you make a request, if you get anything other than that, it might happen. But
Let
if
me
you
see what I
get-
can do.
Yeah, let me see what I
can
can do for you.
Hey, thanks
I'll
for
see-
calling, Drew. Let me see what I can do for you.
Yeah, I'll try to
Where-
get that
by the
on
way,
for you.
whereabouts are you calling from? Okay. Yeah, very good. All right. Well, y'all have a good night now, right? All right. We'll get it on as soon as we can.
That's funny. So I may
That's
have, I
wild.
have to ask you one more question. We may
Sure.
have touched on this in the very beginning, but I don't remember, so I have to close my loop here. What if you started out in the radio industry and you really did like it? How did you branch off into the songwriting side
Well,
of it?
you know,
The music side of it?
working in Muscle Shoals, Muscle Shoals was the hit recording capital of the world there for years.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
tons of great music has come out of Muscle Shoals. Now, so much of that has worn out over the years. I guess to put it nicely, but they still have really great musicians, really great songwriters down there. Fame Recording is still around. Muscle Shoals Sound is still around, but Fame had an active publishing company there, and still do. But those guys were getting huge cuts and huge hits as writers, and so I got to be around guys through my connection through the radio station. I got to be around guys that were writing hit songs, that were actively writing hit songs, and so. Because I worked at the radio station and because they wanted me to, play their records, I could be like, "Hey man, you want to write? Yeah, I write a little. You want to write?" And they'd go,
Okay.
"Oh yeah,
Little give and take there. Okay.
Yeah, so I was, I was still writing through all of that, and then when I left that because I knew I really wanted to get serious about music and in a different capacity. I'm so grateful for my time in radio though, because I've seen that side of it and how that works. And I feel like it has been beneficial to me as an artist and will continue to be beneficial to me just with relationships and knowing how that stuff works and how you get your records played and how important it is to spend time with, programmers and those guys. But, so I was doing it the whole time to answer your question, Deb. It was never, branch off here and do that. I was always writing in the background.
It just
regardless
kind
of
of
what I was doing.
grew in that way. Oh, okay. I just, you may have mentioned it maybe even before we went on, but I just, I had to have that in my head. I don't know why.
I hear you're a pretty good air guitar player. Isn't that what you did at the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band concert? I was reading a little. See, I got my notes here.
Yeah, you do have your notes, man. That's good.
I
don't
do.
even know where you
I
found
do.
all that stuff.
Well, I actually was off today, so I had a lot of time.
Oh my God. I have to, after you answer this question, I have to skip something about his notes, but go ahead.
You're gonna ask him how he got off work on a Tuesday?
No.
That's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, really. We'd all like
You're
to
the
know
boss.
that.
You can do anything you want.
Oh, that's great, man. You're right. Yeah, Nitty Gritty Dirt
Never
Band,
mind.
huge influence of mine. I mean, really, those guys. My first recollection of going, whatever that is, I want to do that, was from my parents had recorded an episode of Austin City Limits on old VHS tape. Nitty Gritty Dirt Band was performing, and I remember watching those guys. I watched that tape over and over and over, and Fishing in the Dark was, a huge.
Oh my
hit at the
God!
time.
Still a great song.
Yeah, still, you can't go anywhere.
One of those that'll live forever.
It will, man. Thank God, because how can you not like that song?
Yeah, exactly.
And I remember watching Jimmy Ibbotson up there playing with those guys, and he just smiled and smiled and smiled, and he was just like, you could see how happy the guy was. And I was like, man, whatever that is. At the time, I didn't know it was alcohol, it. I was like, whatever that is, I want it. And
You wanted some.
and so, but I thought it was the music, that was making you feel that way. No, but that was really what made me want to be on stage. So I thought, man, if these guys are that
That's it,
happy,
yeah.
you know.
Makes you feel good.
Yeah. So I became a super fan of those guys. My parents started taking me to Nitty Gritty Dirt Band concerts, and I've got tons of pictures of me from several different cities, follow those guys around. It's pretty wild. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Deb?
So you have such good notes that you're reading.
Uh-oh.
Are you using your teleprompter?
No.
Did you get a teleprompter?
I harassed him so bad last week about getting a teleprompter. So I was wondering if he was.
This is my teleprompter, right?
Okay.
Holy Lord.
All right, good.
No, Drew, there's like 4 pages on you, dude.
That's a lot, man.
Well, I kind of made the font a little bit bigger, but
It's my-
see, I mean, that when you get that many pages on an artist or a songwriter,
I know.
there's somebody.
You
I'm just
know.
Well,
saying.
Absolutely.
but I would guess that 3 of those pages are probably my rap sheet. So only the
No,
first one includes.
I didn't
my-
have
my
enough
music
paper to print that
accolades.
out.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough paper to print that out. Yeah, no, what I did was, because I have the full studio here, absolutely love it. It's something I've always wanted all my life. I love doing my own thing. Like you love doing your own thing, but I have the cameras, I have the microphones. Like I said, we bring the artist in here. We do. It's awesome. So I saw this teleprompter. I get a lot of my stuff, and here's a free plug, at B&H, New York City. Love that place. So they had a teleprompter on sale. I said, okay. Yeah, I could do that. Be right in front of me, and I can look right at the camera and just make that contact. No, I'm not using it, though. It's still in the box under the table.
Well, you got to unbox it, man. Those things are too cool.
It's very cool. Well, I also have to have a
Space.
computer to work with that, and because it's
It's on his
but-
list of things to do. I just had to harass him about it. though.
she did harass me after our last podcast, and we were talking, just talking like we're talking here, except not live. And she kind of got me. She's like, "What'd you buy that for?" I said, "You're not my wife." Stop. So she was.
That was fun though.
Yeah, I'll give you one better than that. A few years ago during COVID, actually, I made my own teleprompter.
Oh my goodness.
And it's
Oh,
a thing.
my
You can make
goodness.
your own teleprompter. It's pretty wild.
That was
But,
Dude, I'm going to tell you, anybody that's watching this now or down the road,
Mhm,
I'm going to tell everybody there's a free teleprompter online. You
mhm.
just like I could bring it up on part of the screen right here. So really, I guess I didn't have to buy a teleprompter, but there is a free one available online. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
I don't know, man. There's something to having a real teleprompter.
Yeah, I know.
In the room.
It's just, yeah, you're right. It's like, yeah,
It makes
that's
it
my
10%
teleprompter.
cooler for sure.
Yeah.
So you'll
it
have to
does,
get
it
with
does.
Drew and he'll show you how to make a teleprompter.
No, you don't want to
See?
do that, man.
Okay.
It was,
Say
it was
what-
such a
We wouldn't
pain.
leave this room. I mean, we'd be, because I'm into
Yeah.
sound, everything almost like you. And when you were talking radio, and how you first got your start as a board op, bingo, me too.
Yeah.
And then you started doing little breaks here and there, little things, maybe the weather or whatever. Boom, me too. Then eventually it was like, you know what? You want an air shift? We'll give you an air shift. Boom, me too.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I got my feet wet. Oh, I had to empty the garbage cans and vacuum the lobby.
Mm.
That was the other thing I had. Oh, you're going to get a kick out of this. The owner of the radio station that I was working for had horses. I had to go to the stable and feed the horses.
You're kidding me.
Oh my gosh, you really
I had to
did
feed
well.
I had to feed the horses. I had to vacuum the shag rug in the lobby. I had to board op the shift. It was an overnight shift at the time, but I was the board op. Then I ended up doing those little breaks, so on and so forth. And now it's gotten me to where I am today as I'm doing my thing, the program director, a great country station. I mean, we're kicking ass. It's all good. It's all good.
All the way down to to taking care of the horses, man. You really
Yeah,
paid
and
attention.
some of the people that I work with now actually worked with me back then. It's like radio goes full circle.
Mhm.
It's amazing
Wow,
who
yeah,
ends
yeah.
up back in your life one way or another.
So yeah, don't be mean to people. You never know who you're going to come back and work with.
And it comes up. Do you remember the time you were feeding Milt Hibden's horses? I mean, it'll come up
Mhm.
quite a bit in conversation, and we'll just laugh. And I go, yeah.
I never had to do that, but I had, because because I was so young, and the first radio station I worked, my hometown radio station, I was very young then, couldn't even drive, but I remember the general manager coming in and asking a guy one day, said, "Hey, can you drive out to the repeater and turn that back on?" And I was like, "What?" And he had shut down. Had to go and like restart it, man. It was wild.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Turn the
'Cause
grind.
we were off the air the whole time, and we're throwing maybe 1,000 watts without the repeater. So,
Oh my God. It's just such a small world when we think about everything that we've done, and maybe we're doing different things, but it all kind of started the same. And it's just amazing. It's amazing. It's Drew Smith and Alexa in the background. And Deb's phone.
Deb's phone. A lot of laughs in
got a
between.
marching band coming in here in a few
Yeah,
minutes.
hang on. They'll be right here.
Yeah.
They're at the top of the stairs now. So, yeah. Drew, it's been awesome. Awesome conversation, man. It's
my
a
pleasure.
lot of great information, a lot of
Mhm.
just knowing what you've done and where you've been and where you're going. Man, don't look back. Just keep looking ahead. Just look ahead to March when we can sit in bar lines and have a nice cold,
Mhm.
whatever you
Absolutely.
drink.
Yeah.
And we'll make it work, and we'll talk and carry on this conversation. But
Well, it's
and if
been
you can spread
absolutely
the
great.
word,
Yeah, for
if you
sure.
can spread the word about Skip Happens, we appreciate that. And subscribe on YouTube at Skip Happens. Deb's got her info.
Facebook and Instagram at Official Country Music Fan Club or at Official CMFC. I always forget which one it is, but we'll follow you, and you could just grab us back.
That'd be
We'll
great.
get your stuff out there to people.
I appreciate you
Looking
guys so
forward
to it.
much.
When you come out with the new stuff, make sure we get our hands on it,
Yeah.
and we'll get it up so
Absolutely.
people can hear it. So
Thank you, man.
that's awesome.
Cool.
Drew, hang on there. We're going to wrap it up for the night. Thanks for watching, everybody. Again, it's Skip Happens. You can find us youtube.com/at Skip Happens, and give us a subscribe, and you won't miss a minute of what we have for you, which is pretty cool. All right. Good night, everybody. Good night, Deb. Good night, Drew.
Good night, everyone. Thanks
Good
for
night, guys.
joining.